G2 trying to go back-to-back at Majors. They got to get through Liquid to do it. The games start now.
It is our last match before we get to the crowd, and it is one Johnny and Turtle that has an awful lot on the line. Worlds is getting closer, but we still don't know who is sending how many teams.
And this is huge, not just for the teams here, as the desk was saying. We've got Semper back home. They're really pulling for Liquid. We've got Complexity really pulling for G2. That's the big storyline here. And, you know, NA dominating the Winter Major could all be undone if G2 lose here. That could all get completely wiped out.
Right, right. And just seeing them in here and in the lower bracket is definitely something that I don't think any of us expected. Quite awkward to have G2 all the way down here, but it was a tough match against Karmine Corp, but at the end of the day, Team Liquid, we'll see what happens.
Oh, your #1 region, your #1 seed is really struggling, are they? We don't know how that feels whatsoever.
Yeah.
As we do see the shot. Oh! Way to get yourself onto the board, but they're still under a lot of pressure. JKnaps' shot stopped by a Chronic. But G2 putting so much pressure on. And that one's just going to be wide. But Johnny, as we get ourselves into this, if Liquid have a chance, they need to keep out of these positions. They need to avoid being demoed.
Yeah, and what a way to start things out here. Chicago off the backboard. Atso can't really get the best touch. It needed to be a stronger clear. You saw what he was going for. Looking for that pass across and then a nice transition, but doesn't connect.
Yeah, G2 just so organized of a team. They are always able to connect those passes together. That's one thing everybody at the Winter Major was telling me, is that every touch a G2 player makes, it's a pass in some way, whether a back pass or a knock forward into a position that a teammate can follow up on. That's something that we haven't really seen from Team Liquid, and although Liquid might have a mechanical advantage, it's far from overwhelming. And G2 have big advantages in other areas.
Well, this is the first time we see Liquid with some sustained pressure. That's something that they like to keep, but as always, the demos, you looking towards that top right. Chicago wipes out one player, and that just gets rid of the pressure on G2. They can settle themselves back down, right back into the blue side of the field. Look to try and do exactly the same yet again. Minute and a half down, G2 know how they want to play. They have managed to put that down.
Big question for me is how this G2 back line starts off in this series. I mean, that was the main concern I had previously against Karmine. Seemed like they kept committing and couldn't figure out how to position two players. Now they're getting demoed left and right. And they haven't had to play too much defense, which is obviously a highlight here. But once Team Liquid starts to fire up on offense, that's where my concerns come out for G2.
I just wonder, will that happen? It's in fact Liquid who started the stronger of their two teams in the last two matches they played. Even against Falcons, they came out and 4-1 them in game one. So this is great stuff from G2. They knew what they're up against. They knew they're up against a fast, mechanical team, and they have done the right prep. They didn't come out here slow and controlled. They've really fought for that midfield. They're winning that battle, out-pressuring Team Liquid.
And Team Liquid have to avoid these demos. It's already been pretty bad at the opening half of this game. Thankfully for them, it's only led to one goal. You can recover that, but the adaptations have to come on in. Pass to Chicago in a toe. Once against the quick up, but there's always another player.
JKnaps coming into the back post, and that was off the back of an atomic Chicago near post play. Look at JKnaps' positioning. Team Liquid had no idea that he was there. They were able to get the second goal of the game. G2 really dominating the opening game.
G2 Esports really proving that they are the experienced squad here. It is the org that has been here forever versus the team that has just got started. And up to now, G2 have been putting that experience on full display.
Oh my.
Yeah, really tried to just catch them out, but it's going to be difficult to do. G2 so solid at spreading out their players. As Team Liquid on the hunt.
For Team Liquid, I'm starting to wonder, when is Oski going to start ball chasing? I mean, we watched and casted the previous series for Team Liquid. He was all over the place, getting demos.
Wow.
And speaking of demos, you can see an attempt from G2 Esports toying and messing with the back line.
Yeah, JKnaps just staying active in offense. Atso actually tried to reverse up onto the post to avoid that bump while simultaneously jumping in the way of that shot. It's a very awkward position. He knew the bump was coming. He was kind of in a precarious position outside of the net with nowhere to go. JKnaps just made quick work of him. 3-0 G2.
Almost got a little bit worse there, but Chicago's shot not going to show any sort of danger. But for Team Liquid, they have to stay in constant motion, especially in defense. The moment they've stood still, they have been rooted out by G2 Esports. that's what has led to this 3-goal deficit that they now face. JNAPS wants to try and make that even worse. Oski off the backboard, no support around. He just sees orange cards left and right. Realizes that there's no one around to help. They finally got it here off the crossbar. Follow-up shot isn't there from James. And now Oski looks to try and retaliate, but as you can already see, Atomic Chicago back in the back line.
Need to look for more on that transition. You see him coming out of his own defensive end. Couldn't even find a teammate, just decided to shoot it right on net. And Oski, I talked about him earlier. This time he's not ball chasing, he's striking.
Yeah, 50-50 goes to Ray. Atto dumps it middle. Atomic couldn't get there. Looks like the whole team ran out of boost at the same time. That left them without somebody challenging the wide open shot. Team Liquid get one. That, came against the run of play. Even though G2 are up by 3, they're still pressuring. They're still aggressing the midfield. And that's something we see from them in North America. Something we've seen from them at the Winter Major. They're very consistent with their pressure. Liquid definitely feeling that right now. The confidence that Liquid displayed in both of the game ones we've seen from them, that's a distant memory at this point. They look to be a bit rattled here. It looks like maybe they weren't as confident against this team as they were against Power. That's a great save, but they need a lot more than that.
So off the backboard, no follow-up available. There it is, off the crossbar. So many players use. It's still not got in. 30 seconds, Liquid have to keep this pressure. That play went against them, but they cannot let it get away from this side of the field. Achronic back in control. Oski tries to chase it down. Achronic infield pass. James had it red, but still couldn't get there quick enough. Atto straight back over, and G2 have ridden out the storm.
Pinball in front of the net, but there's still 10 seconds left to pass across. Almost found its way into the back of the net. It doesn't. 3 seconds left. A good touch, but not the best from Achronic. However, that's a great bounce.
For G2, it is just what they have done for so long now, Johnny. We've had a couple of roster moves on this team, but it seems like even back when they were winning E-Leagues, the whole philosophy of G2 has been pressure, pressure, demo, and we're seeing it on display right now.
Yeah, it used to be the thing that we talk about, will this play style for G2 ever work? Because on paper, it sounds perfect for Rocket League. You're just aggressive, you're passing in the final third, you're stealing the boost, you're keeping your opponents on the back foot so they can't really do anything. And, it's kind of been proven recently that is the way to play this game. You want to play with an aggressive style. Yeah, counterattacks are good, and you can definitely survive in defense, and you can make those counterattacking plays work. But the way the G2 play, it is beautiful to watch, and they are phenomenal with their execution, even in the chaotic situations like we saw at the end there.
And Turtle, do you feel like when it comes to that playstyle, like G2's philosophies were maybe a bit ahead of their time? Because now that we've hit a point where players are so good at recovering, it's not leaving those defensive gaps that they used to have. They are just always back. You do not get very often quick, direct counterattacks scoring against G2.
Absolutely. They know how to sustain that pressure, and it's huge. And like you mentioned, things have evolved to the point where you need to be able to control it for what feels like minutes at a time. It's crucial for G2 in this moment, and they've had so much pressure on their shoulders dealing with what to do with that third man. Does he rotate in? Does he go for an early shot? They know exactly how to bounce off each other, and it just looks like a well-oiled machine, but there were still some issues previously. We'll see how they manage in game 2.
Immediately becomes apparent that that style of passing, always looking to pass the ball into the net that G2 have, it works brilliantly against teams who go for those goal line saves. Team Liquid have been known for that this regional online. They have made so many crazy goal line stands against teams like Moist, Esports, who back them up in the net, even BDS. Team Liquid, they've got some crazy mechanical ability. Yes, we all know that. But when G2 are just passing the ball into the net the way they are, they're not just shooting the ball like goalkeepers and hoping that there's going to be a miss. Then all that goalkeeping skill is for nothing.
Well, we can talk about mechanics, we can talk about strategy. Liquid, you're up against the toughest task of this major, and it is bouncing back from a loss, and to compound it, they've now got to bounce back from 1 goal down, Turtle.
It's the same issue we saw yesterday against Power. Double commits on the goal line. The third man, the second man, they can't get organized. They can't space out. They both end up committing. There's also a demo on the play. There's no chance to stop that one.
Liquid just need to get these mechanics up and running. It's so difficult to do that when the other team is matching you for pace, challenging you before you can even get that ball under control. This is the sort of position that Liquid have to start from their own backboard, and even then, Atomic is right there in front of them. But here's your player, Turtle. Oski, all chaser yesterday. He's going to need more of the same today.
That's what I want. He was the disruptor on Team Liquid, he was making sure he's getting demos, taking boost. It was also everybody else on Team Liquid, but Oski in particular, always behind the ball, willing to get a 50-50, force an awkward challenge. Here he is again, forcing a challenge to the left side, and they can keep some possession off of it.
And nearly getting half a chance there off a, I think it was just an accidental miss from Team Liquid. Everybody's calling that early these days. Other team might be surprised by it. You definitely don't expect Team Liquid to misread too many wall bounces. Oski, gets that one right on the floor. This bounce wide though. Team Liquid's limited experience really being tested here. This is a great learning experience for them, but if their tournament is to continue after today and to continue in front of the crowd, which is what all the teams want, so all the teams are really playing for today, then they're gonna need to figure something out here. G2 have got the counter right now. Stylistically, they're playing well.
Yeah, it's such a difference between the attacking offensive styles of both of these teams. G2 will pass for the sake of passing very often, but for Liquid, they want that individual outplay to create the space for the oncoming player, and that's difficult to do at the moment. They've got to try and put that together. Ball's going to drop down. Oski booming clear from a very difficult angle to work with. Atomic does see Oski yet again. So it's going to drop. Atomic there just in time. G2 always have a player left.
I'm so impressed with the adjustments we've seen out of G2, especially on that defensive line. They're much more distant between them and the ball with that third man, always maintaining a proper distance. Before, they'd creep up way too close, get caught off guard, had nobody back, or they would double commit on the defensive line.
Yeah, it seemed like they're definitely a bit panicky here, jumpy on the goal line. That shot, that forced a double commit, wasn't moving that quickly. You know, there was time to react to that one, but you can see that they're already thinking about the pre-jump. They're already thinking about the necessary quick move. As Atomic launches in another one, Team Liquid are really struggling here. They can't read the hard hits that G2 are sending their way.
Look at the read from Atomic. Before that touch even came out from Acronic, Atomic was right there in his face to smack it down.
And that's really good, but the read, I feel like, is almost too easy right now. You're looking at Team Liquid, it feels like they've got in their mind, we're the mechanical team. We have to do that.
Right.
It's too often. We have not seen an attempt at a power clear. This is more what they usually want to see, but for G2, they're just aware of what Liquid are good at as anybody else. They are just leaving players back and saying, all right, you'll bring the ball to us eventually.
I mean, look at the composure from everybody on G2 as well. JNAP's a nice dribble out of his own half. Didn't see that yesterday. He's cutting in on the rotation as well. So aware of his teammates. This is a different roster.
G2 again looking for that infield pass, always trying to move the ball to a teammate. Lucille didn't actually connect there. Atto able to send the ball down the line as a result. He's met by JNAPs, and the G2 are never being surprised here by the counters that Team Liquid are sending at them, and they've never been caught off guard by a hard clear or shot. Unfortunately for Liquid, you can't say the same thing about them. They're being caught off guard constantly. You know, full credit to G2 for that. I would call these outplays, not misplays for Liquid, but G2 just being too good.
They try for the drop down pass, but nobody really believes in it at the moment. Liquid are expecting G2 to be quicker, and it is affecting their overall positioning. Zoski does end up missing that one. So will be the player tasked with chasing down JNAPs, and JNAPs still the quicker of the two. 40 seconds on the clock. You get the feeling that if Liquid are going to make something of this game, it has to happen right here, right now. A toe with a good block. But where are they going to find the follow-up as Atomic realizes there's no real pressure on him. He's past two players. He might go the whole way, and he does.
It's just too easy. Atomic makes it 3. Liquid are completely lost for what to do.
Somebody from Liquid had to have gotten bumped right there. You see him on the bottom just flying past? Okay, I was freaking out for a minute. There was too much space there. I didn't see it happen. 3-0, G2 Esports is dominant, even a proper word to describe the composure and this level of control that G2 have really inflicted against Team Liquid.
They're a sponge.
Yeah.
G2 they're sponging Team Liquid at the moment. And Liquid might need to reform here. What do you do if you're just getting completely countered? It's not, it's not easy to, just start doing more team plays.
Right.
There's a lot of quick calls that teams can make when they're struggling in a series. Play more physically. Play more for solo plays, but play more for team plays is a tricky one for Team Liquid to do, because G2 have had so long to build up that synergy, and I don't think Liquid can match them in that regard. Definitely not in the same way that Team G2 can level up and they can step up their pace and go toe-to-toe with one of the fastest teams in the world. We knew that Liquid would be quick. We've seen how mechanical they are, and it's not been a problem for G2. They've handled all that, and their superior positioning, their superior teamwork has been far more impactful than anything Liquid have done.
Turtle, I really want to ask you a question about this because you're our residential pro, ex-pro over here. You're the one that has been there. You're the one
back in my day.
One of the most legendary walkouts that we ever saw.
That's all I'm known for. Nothing on the field. Just a walkout. Thank you.
But I really want to ask you, when a series is looking like this, when it's just nothing seems to be working at all, how do you approach that during the 60 seconds that you've got between? Because somebody has to speak up.
This is one of those things where you need a physical reset. They are so ingrained right now with this playstyle where they think they're better than them. You can see it in their positioning, their confidence. They are forcing this speed on G2 when they don't need to. They've got to do a complete 180, a complete shift. In my opinion, you drop the controller like we're seeing here. No hands on the controller, reset, come back in with a completely different playstyle because you're forcing all of that speed. You're flying at every ball, trying to outpace them. It's not working. G2 too composed, and on match point, you've got to make a change.
Until speaking of your walkout, I expect you to be coaching some people ahead of tomorrow.
Yeah.
I want to see some good walkouts.
Oh, things are definitely in the works, okay?
Oh, I like to hear that. There's a toe. Would like to try and get something started for his team. Nobody around to put that one in. They gave it a go, however.
Yeah, I really like that. I mentioned about the speed not working. We did see some pretty crazy early reads being attempted. Though that's open though, and a great start for Liquid. And a much more slower approach already. They're waiting. You can see that Chicago is waiting on the backboard here for a booming touch, for a quick play. No, just a nice slow movement forward. And I actually expect to see Liquid do that on the ground as well. Just bring the game down. Trying to read at every bounce ridiculously early is not working against G2. They're fast enough to match that.
I'm just so happy to see that from Team Liquid and not force it off the backboard with a huge hit, try and outpace G2. He took it to himself, controlled it, and you'll notice that G2, the habit they've been in, because it's been working so consistently, is just waiting, lurking on the backboard. This time, it didn't work, and Team Liquid are able to take the first goal, maybe the second one off the post, the follow-up wide, not even making contact, and Oski's gonna want another try at that.
It's just one of those moments where the game doesn't agree with you whatsoever. But this has been better from Team Liquid. They are not trying at all anymore to match G2 for pace. And it's working better for them because it means that they can conserve boost an awful lot more when those moments in the midfield end up happening. More importantly, G2 are now being forced to leave players in their own side of the field. Previously, Jane has just been sat behind everybody, getting bumps, getting demos. Now he's got to get saves like that one.
What a stop, JNABs. Showing off defensively, and we haven't had to see a lot of G2 defense today. There's some more. Atomic with a goal line save. You gotta remember that they're class at both ends of the field. G2 don't play a lot of defense because their pressuring style suppresses their opponents. But when they are backed up, they know exactly what to do. Team Liquid will really have to work to get past them. Oh, that was actually a miss from G2 though. I don't think Team Liquid expected that one. Brief free touch. That's, oh my goodness, it's in! JNABs ties. And, we almost saw a bizarre goal at one end. We do see a bizarre goal at the other.
It's a pre-jump defensively. I mean, he's already up. He's already trying.
Yeah,
and the shot just right behind the attempted save. G2 right back in it. And this is what we had a little bit of a sight of from Liquid in their match against Falcons. Falcons adapted really well, but once Liquid stopped getting goals going their way, the momentum just ended for them after that. Liquid needs to make sure that that does not happen in this game.
You can sense the fear that's been instilled into Team Liquid after the first two games, flying across the net, understanding that G2 Esports are certainly a team you don't want to mess with and can't underestimate, but you have to be cautious that they are not giants and you can take them down. And then with a shot early from Oski, off the post, they keep finding it, and yet again, another shot will fall.
That is so important for Liquid because before G2 had even scored, Liquid would have been looking at that and saying, we should have been 2 goals up. You cannot allow stuff like that to be something that is still relevant later on in the game. Liquid right that wrong, and they're back into the lead.
Yeah, long time left. And this is something we didn't really see between Liquid and Falcons, and they're only lost in this tournament so far. As soon as momentum went Falcons' way, it stayed going Falcons' way. This is a bit different now. G2 started off with complete control, complete dominant performances. Now we're getting a bit of Liquid action, and they're making G2 look a bit uncomfortable. Chicago did have one heroic save there, but needed a bit of help with the second one. Unfortunately, JNABs and Atomic weren't around.
And now it feels like Team Liquid are starting to exploit a lot of the issues that we did witness and see yesterday from G2 Esports, just the goal line defending, where they can't get the rotations in. I was rewatching a lot of those matches. A lot of the goals that went in against G2, two players were either in the same spot or nobody was rotating back to net. They couldn't find boost. It's a similar situation. They're struggling to get in front of the ball, and we've got more and more free shots for Team Liquid.
That's a pretty long time to be double committing. Both players extremely high there for Liquid, trying to go for the same ball. The comms got to be quick, got to be clean. Ooh. In moments like this, they're gonna just barely survive for a moment longer. G2 knocking on the door again. Just over a minute and 30 left.
It's a minute and 30 that Liquid need if they want to stay in this
Double
tournament.
tap.
Chronic off the backboard. It's going to bounce off the crossbar. Ski will be the first one. He wins the race, and he gets that 2-goal lead.
Well played, Chronic, to get the shot past the goalkeeper there. It's all about just making sure JNABS doesn't make contact. And Oski, knowing that there's something going on here, I'm going to commit as third man. He's going to be there. They're up by 2. It would have been very easy to just sit at the halfway line there and say, hey, we've already got the lead. I don't want to take any risks. But Oski does the right thing. They double up. And now it's far more conceivable to see that lead standing till the end of the game.
I love that you mentioned there that the next man was so willing to go up, because that was, for me, one of the biggest sort of negatives that we saw from Liquid against Falcons is that they were so scared to send an extra player. It was just hopeful that one player was going to outplay everybody. And then they were surprised on the rare occasion it ended up working. Now they know that their only chance is to get that small gap against G2 and make sure somebody is there.
Wow.
But the fake from JNABS gives a little bit of breathing room for G2 as they look to try and work their way out their own side of the field.
It's still such a change of pace, though, from Team Liquid. They're able to match the composure of G2 Esports, keep the ball to themselves, the control on another level for Team Liquid, and they're going to need just that control in the last 35 seconds if they want to continue playing in this series.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine a team like Team Liquid rushing their touches. They play so quickly to begin with, but that clearly was what they were doing in the first 2 games, as they were jumping up, missing reads on corner walls, side walls, just ending up in uncomfortable positions. Once or twice this game, we're still seeing those double commits, those mistakes, those panicking moments for Liquid. They are, still looking a little bit jumpy, but this is a large improvement compared to games 1 and 2, where they were, absolutely being forced to panic by G2, and the passing play so close to the goal. I mean, in fairness, how do you not pre-jump in some of these positions when G2 are flying at you? Liquid, despite that, have managed to come out with a win. By far their best performance yet. Backs up against the wall, just 1 game away from elimination. Liquid get the win.
And for a lot of coaches out there, this might be a little bit of the hopium when you take on Liquid, going out the window if they do make the comeback happen, because if you're going up against them, everyone's saying, oh, they're the inexperienced team. We saw them not adapt in previous series. If they adapt, come back against one of the most experienced teams out there. That is every single detractor that you can put on Liquid out of the window. And this is a team this is their first event, Turtle.
And it's their best of 5. It's not a 7. You don't have a timeout. You don't have that much time to figure things out and what playstyle needs to change. And they did it. They managed to compose themselves, shift things around with their playstyle, and they are taking it to G2 Esports. The question now, Johnny, does it continue on, or what do we see from G2 Esports? How do they change up? Because the ball's in their court.
Yeah, and G2 have got levels, certainly. I don't think that was peak G2 at all.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, for all the G2 fans, Liquid do have the potential to beat them, even with a few mistakes here, double committing, unnecessary pre-jumps in defense. Liquid still got a win there. So based on what we've seen this weekend, I think what I can safely and confidently tell you is that Liquid can beat G2 from these kind of positions, but G2 should beat Liquid from this kind of position. It's still very much a G2. It's even more a G2 favorite series after what we've seen this far. Can Liquid produce 10 minutes of controlled aggression? Can they produce 10 minutes of mixed aggression where they don't play predictably? Let's find out. Decent start as the top corner, denied by G2.
And that is the beautiful part about our esport, is that it is only 10 minutes that you have got to do at that level to turn back around. Heck, for Liquid, it's 5 more minutes and suddenly they become the favorites. So if we head over to game 5, but for G2, as you mentioned, Johnny, there are levels and they know how to hit the very top of them. They also know how to deal with situations like this one. They've taken L's, they know how to come back from game losses.
What about our sweeps though? I mean, it happened yesterday. At what point did G2 start to wonder?
I feel like we're getting greedy. We finally got away from
we
the
gotta relax.
sweeps.
We gotta relax here. We're bringing that up. I don't even want to talk about it, but I do want to mention the boost stealing though. G2, they are starved right now. You're looking at Atomic and Chicago in the right corner. Chicago finally getting boost. JNAB's going all the way down. They're controlling the ball, but for how long? And on this transition, if Oski starts ball chasing and mixes in the composure with the chasing, I think that's the ideal and maybe peak level we see out of Team Liquid.
I feel like I don't want to see the ball chasing from Oski.
Really?
The pace of that has not worked.
You think it's going to throw everything out?
I think stick with what works for this game. Oski with the ball chasing yesterday, that works for them.
Not the double commit though.
This,
however, that's not what we want.
Yeah, I don't think any strategy we can put forward involves double committing. Chicago already up, looks for the backboard, and Ato just graciously takes control of it, looks to transition.
Yeah, it's great work by Ato to control the situation there. It looked pretty dodgy. Oh, G2 are so good at setting up pressure off the back of one small mistake. All it takes is one moment where Liquid are mispositioning, one occasion where they double commit on a play, and G2 are all over them. That's the greatness that G2 have, is they capitalize on every mistake. And you're going to get more mistakes in situations like this. Pressure's rising. Both teams trying to carry their regions and carry the teams back home into the World's Wildcard, as well as sending themselves to the LAN with the crowd. That will be commencing tomorrow.
Chronic might go the whole way, but Atomic actually relatively composed with that one. G2 doing a phenomenal job of making sure that the oncoming third man from Team Liquid is coming from the wrong angle. They shift the ball, make sure that the shooting angle is no longer there for them. We do get the shot from JNAB's Oski. Just sat there in the goal. Great goal line defense from both teams.
Here we go.
Gonna need more of it. Chronic goes off the backboard. Couldn't get enough height. He was on low boost. Probably didn't want to spend it without being able to get back.
Big whiff from JNAB's. Even though that transition did look beautiful, every touch was deliberate and to a teammate. G2 Esports, of course, we always talk about their passing, implementing it here on defense and getting bumped on the back line too, but JNAB's can still get the clear, and this is a big break for them. Will they be able to punish or at least start something on the side of Team Liquid? And doesn't fall in, save.
That's a huge save as well. Team Liquid being a goal down at this point, I think might just send them over the edge. It's a nervous-looking team at times, but they are so talented. And right now, those mechanics, defensive reads. Oh, what a bump! That's got to be surely a goal. It is. Atomic takes his time at the post bounce, and how are you going to get the ball past a goalkeeper team like Liquid? Take the goalkeeper out. Chicago with a huge play.
Mentioned this back in game one, Turtle. You cannot stay still against G2 Esports. They will find your defender, and they'll make sure that you are defender in a past tense.
The rotations are just simply too clean right now from G2 Esports. Finally got that demo and taking boost. You'll see JNAB's being a nuisance. This one on target too. Liquid, the biggest test of the series right now.
As you said, Johnny, it was really important for Liquid to get that first goal. They haven't. It is now even more against them. Minute and 20 left here. It is time to put it all together. A Chronic had to reposition himself. Means that they cannot keep control of the ball, but still, they scramble for it. All three players commit to the midfield. Almost got it to Oski. Just narrowly. Didn't find the car.
Huge defense from G2. That's been, I think, the focus of the last two games. They're just waiting for mistakes. They're letting the chances come to them. Fantastic positioning as well by Chicago. They know exactly what Team Liquid are trying to do here. They're looking to lob the ball middle, get up quickly, and again, just beat G2, not to a read, but to an aerial battle.
It's going to require a monster play from Team Liquid. We know they're capable of it.
Absolutely.
But the one downside to that play style is each play that you create like that takes quite a
reset.
while. Pass to
Oh,
Oski. He ends up missing it. Great save. Keeps it out of goal. Team Liquid have to give up temporary possession. JNAB's goes up, gets a good enough win. 30 seconds on the clock.
Unreal flip reset from Oski, the power. And there's more! Oski with a finish! Liquid tie the game.
Don't give up. You've still got time left. Keep feeding that ball into the midfield. And this time it's going to be Oski not chasing, but instead continuing to strike. And he's on target.
And how impressive is that? They went down and they chose a strategy. Feed the infield, keep it going, because G2 cannot stop all of them. Rather than just going for whatever, seeing what will work, Team Liquid knew what they wanted, and they got it done. 10 seconds. Next goal could send us to Champions Field, or it could send Liquid out. Chronic! He has chosen Champions Field!
A Chronic puts Liquid up by one with just 5 seconds left. And just as it looked like Liquid were down and out of the tournament, the youngsters have produced 2 brilliant passing plays and 2 equally good finishes.
You've got to be kidding me. 5 seconds left, and you pull that off. But hold on a second, G2. There might be a chance this bounce is good enough, but it's missed in the corner. And we are going the distance, Shogun.
Was there ever any doubt? We saw some sweeps earlier on, but there was no doubt that the matches would start to deliver. Furia managed it in the last one, and Liquid, maybe there was a small amount of doubt on maybe where this was going to go, but they have brought the hype, they've taken us to Champions Field, and now, Johnny, it's 5 more minutes.
This is an exciting prospect, to say the least, but also a terrifying prospect for G2 fans. They're up against a team who have nothing to lose. They don't have any world scenarios in the line for themselves. They're maybe playing for Semper back home, but after speaking to them earlier, you know, that's not really something they're thinking about.
Right.
They're looking at what's in front of them. They've got G2 Esports to worry about. And wow, that was just something we didn't really see from them earlier on in the tournament when they're losing to Falcons. They just looked like they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to adapt. It was just a situation they hadn't been in before. But way to turn that series around. G2 waiting for mistakes, and instead they got hit with some big plays.
And full credit to their coach on doing that. You can really tell that they were listening that entire time, that he gave them something to chase, gave them an objective to go for, Turtle.
Yeah.
And they delivered.
Yeah, game 3 was completely different. You could feel the shift, not only in confidence, but in the approach from Team Liquid. And since then, it was smooth sailing. Well, relatively smooth sailing. Maybe scoring 2 goals in the last minute isn't ideal, but whatever works. And in game 5, so long as that ball drops and you've got the leading score line, you're going over.
G2 swept by Carmine Corp, reverse swept, sorry, by Carmine Corp yesterday. Now, 1 game away from being reverse swept out of the tournament by Liquid. You know, this has been a surprising tournament in many ways, but I can almost guarantee that nobody predicted G2 being sent home after 2 reverse sweeps against them. I certainly didn't. I thought G2 were going to be the favorites here, but they are starting to crumble. It's a massive save by Atomic. They needed that so badly. An opening goal for Liquid would have swung momentum so heavily.
And Chicago had to slow it down. Low boost off the side. Double commit, double the power. Running out of players. JNAPS wanted to find a toe. Didn't quite work out. We are in a tournament, everybody, where the NA and EU #1 seeds might not even see a crowd.
Oh my.
G2 will do everything in their power to make sure that is not the case. But when you give a toe this much play positioning, then you're up against it. Whereabouts is that ball going off to? It's dropped down, and Chicago will be very thankful about that.
Absolutely. This is the game 5. We wanted to see a shootout between both teams.
Oh!
Atomic, not the best positioning, but it's not on target, and he recovered just in time.
Yeah, big time panic by Atomic there, completely out of boost and flips into the post. Thank goodness for him. There was no immediate shot. Now the fake coming through for Liquid. They're changing up the pace. This is something that we talked about earlier, and they're bringing it out in the series against G2. It's open, but Chicago recovers.
How often can G2 bring out this goal line save? Atomic almost goes the entire way. You can see G2, they just fan out. They wait to see where that ball is going to go. Off the post. Oski will clear the lines. Let's go to the opposite side of the field. Oski goes up, wants the reset. Got it. Leaves. Almost finds out the back post. Here comes a toe.
Double
2
commit.
players used from G2. And Atomic recovers in time to get rid of that ball.
Perfect by Atomic. He needed to get that extra touch. It was about to be a free ball for Liquid. It is now. A Chronic stare, and it's in. Liquid lead in game 5.
A Chronic with the follow-up waiting. Look at the patience from this man, the 3rd man back. That ball rolls out to him. Atomic pre-jumps, but he can't get the read. And Team Liquid up 1-0.
Guys, these are supposed to be noise-canceling headphones in an empty arena, and even I still heard that from everybody out there. The entire arena wants to see what these young guns can do. Ato and the rest of the crew 3 minutes away from eliminating the last major champions.
Unbelievable. The brackets were dead after day 1. Now they look ridiculous. They look completely and utterly wrong in every possible way. Can G2 produce the level that they've shown the world at the Winter Major? Can they dig deep? Can they come back from behind? They went through upper bracket in the Winter Major. They're in the lower bracket now. This is new territory.
I mean, how bad do you have to feel for G2 fans? This would be the 2nd reverse sweep that happened to G2 in this tournament. Think back to Carmine Corp. It happened to them. It can happen again, and Team Liquid know it.
And Liquid look like the better of the 2 teams at the moment. They are the ones controlling the pace. That one's off the ceiling. Good drop down. Atomic with Chicago in support. Leaves it for a try for the pinch shot.
What?
It was a real hopeful attempt. but G2 at least still willing to try stuff.
Well, you know, G2 hitting the ball away, conceding possession, that's not something we see from them often. That's not something I almost see from them ever. Just giving the ball away like this. I mean, that's a speculative effort at best. And they've given Team Liquid a free possession play off of it in maybe a position they could have used that demo man to run ahead of the play.
Chicago does clear. Atomic can't get control of his car in time. Oski's back in it. And Oski... Oh, he's off the demo! Here comes it! Top corner! Team Liquid 2! G2 0!
Back-to-back demos of Chronic taking him out the field, and the follow-up is there. 2-0 Team Liquid. They end up in destruction.
That is unbelievable by Liquid. A double demo backed up by an immediate shot on target. Now G2 have double the work to do. And they don't have a lot of time left. Chances are few and far between. Where's the pressure we saw earlier on in the series? G2 are getting a bit of a look at the goal, but it's just not enough.
And they've got to go coast to coast yet again. Chronic with the ball chase, just putting some pressure on the ball. Oski moves straight forward. There is full trust in the third man from Team Liquid. They don't want G2 to settle into their rhythm. It's going to be left for the time being. Not going to send the third.
There it is.
Liquid happy to settle on this 2-goal lead.
Again, just a long clear. Someone from Liquid's there for it. G2 conceding possession often here. Now they've just got 45 seconds left to go. That's a pass. That's what G2 have been missing. Even that's read by Liquid.
Chronic goes off the wall. JNaps has to recover it yet again. The last thing that he wants to be doing in this position is playing defense, yet they've been forced to. Atomic almost finds the drop-down pass, but he's outpaced yet again. We were not even close to saying that earlier on. And so wants to try and walk us the whole way. 1-on-1! Puts it straight to Atomic. Oski's still around, which means that there might be a breakaway opportunity for G2. They need to turn this one back in there. Chicago looks at the player instead, drops, and that's off to the side. They're trying to keep the pressure going, but their best chance there has come and gone.
It's end to end. The time is gone all that time. It's wasted it, but G2 get one more. Atomic with 8 seconds left gives them a lifeline.
One sign of life. They've got one more goal, and they can figure this thing out. 8 seconds left. This is their chance, what they've been waiting for.
They need something special on the kickoff here. What have G2 got planned? Off we go, and Chicago it is. Sides it hard into the sideball. JNaps can't read it. It's Liquid's ball.
Here we go.
Atomic, full boost and options either side. He's got to get it over to him. Good pop over the first player. Chicago takes it away from Oski. You're going to see if Crow's going to take a wall.
Oh my!
Matter! Team Liquid reverse sweep. G2 Esports.